For the first time, a source from inside the San Onofre power plant is speaking out, warning that restarting the San Diego County power plant is too dangerous.
Team 10 investigator Mitch Blocker talked to this man and to another expert. Both are sounding the alarm.
There's something grossly wrong.
This anonymous inside source from San Onofre came forward to tell Team 10 he is worried about the nuclear power plant restarting. He is not alone. To understand the concerns, we have to take you inside the concrete containment walls, which house steam generators unique to the plant. Japanese manufacturer Mitsubishi Heavy Industries built replacement generators for the aging nuclear plant in 2010 and 2011. The new generators were designed to provide low-cost power for decades. Instead, they shut it down in just 11 months because of a radiation leak.
The manufacturer, I believe, does not have an experience with this size of a unit.
Dr. Joe Hoppenfeld spent his entire professional life working with steam generators and nuclear power. Though he lives in Maryland, he is familiar with San Onofre, which is run by Southern California Edison. Hoppenfeld used to work for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. He says the 2011 radiation leak that shut down the plant revealed a potentially catastrophic problem with the tubes that carry scalding water.
As far as I'm concerned, I believe it's a very serious risk.
Tubes carry water to and from the reactor core. This creates steam, which turns the turbines and produces energy.
The tubes operate under very high internal pressure.
There is no protection provided between the tubes, from tubes in the rows hitting each other.
Our sources say the redesign of the Mitsubishi generators had unintended consequences. Tubes began hitting each other, creating cracks.
These tubes were hitting each other, and that's dangerous.
This safety engineer worked at San Onofre. He has 25 years' experience in the nuclear field. He wants to remain anonymous because he told Team 10 he fears for his safety.
When they made these changes, they did not look at the academic research.
Dr. Hoppenfeld and our inside source say the tube's movement, banging into each other, led to unprecedented tube failures. Out of 19,400 tubes, the NRC found more than 17% were damaged. Hoppenfeld says the worst-case scenario is a main steam line break, which he says could be caused by tubes cracking, the tube walls thinning, or metal fatigue. Our Songs insider and Hoppenfeld say if there is a steam line break, there is potential for the reactor core to overheat, which could mean a full or partial meltdown.
Many tubes, and I don't know how many, have exhausted their fatigue life. They don't have any fatigue life left.
SoCal Edison proposed a solution to only operate Unit 2 at 70% power. Both Team 10 sources say that may reduce risk, but is no guarantee of safety.
I don't think to scare anybody. You can live there, but you should know what the risk is.
Both believe no one can predict what will happen.
If an accident like this were to happen, San Onofre's emergency plan is not geared to handle it, and it could cause a public disaster.
Now, SoCal Edison maintains the plant is safe to restart. They declined an on-camera interview, but sent us a brief statement that reads in part, while Dr. Hoppenfeld has an extensive resume, his Songs analysis is significantly flawed, reflecting his lack of specific expertise in tube vibration analysis provided by 3 experts that performed SCE's analysis. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries also sent us a statement. It reads in part, the design went through an extensive review process which included the participation of third-party experts, and MHI believed they would operate as expected, safely and successfully. No safety measures were sacrificed in the design.
And of course, if you want to see those full statements, we've got them up on our website, 10news.com.
Big question, still waiting to hear from the NRC, so when
Right.
can we expect that?
We expect that in the next month, but it really could happen at any time. And of course, we'll keep watching it, keep watching these safety issues, and keep reporting on them.
All right, stay on it, Mitch. Thank you.
Mitch.
All right, this just into our newsroom. San Onofre Units 2 and 3 may be retired. That is if government regulators do not approve the restart of the nuclear plant. That development coming straight from the CEO of Edison International, which is the parent company of Southern California Edison. Meanwhile, Team 10 has sources inside the plant, one who snapped a picture that's raising a lot of questions.
It shows plastic bags, tape, and broomsticks used to fix a massive leaky pipe. Now, the source gave the picture only to Team 10 investigator Mitch Blocker.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this one may be worth as many questions. San Onofre's owners confirm this was taken in Unit 3, but did not say when. The source who provided it says it was taken last December. Unit 3 is the same unit that leaked radiation in January 2012. The plant has been shut down since. The picture shows plastic bags propped up by broomsticks supported by tape covering an industrial pipe. San Onofre said in a statement staff identified a small leak in the water box and will perform maintenance per our scheduling process. In the meantime, plastic is in place to direct the water from the small leak to a drain. We sent this picture to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They took a couple of days to analyze it and then said it is a saltwater leak and is not dangerous. They say staff at San Onofre will repair it when they have time. Team 10 sources question if this is the manner in which a nuclear power plant should be maintained.
If that's nuclear technology at work and that's how we're going to control leaks, I think the public should know.
Sources inside San Onofre want to remain anonymous. They came forward because they said the public has a right to know about the plant's condition, especially as the NRC decides whether the plant will be allowed to restart. Unit 2 is the generator under consideration for restart, not Unit 3 where the picture was taken. When the radiation leak was found in Unit 3, both generators were turned off as a precaution. So far, there are no plans to restart the generator where the picture was taken. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission is considering a request to restart Unit 2 in June.
I was there the day it shut down. I wouldn't trust them to turn it back on.
The source also points to what appears to be corrosion on the pipe as a sign of the power plant's age. The source said rust is rampant throughout the plant, including what the source calls a fire suppression pipe, which protects Units 2 and 3.
There's a pipe that runs along the security fence from one side of the plant to the other side of the plant. It's totally blistered.
Rusted.
Rusted. Corrosion.
San Onofre spokeswoman said to take an isolated picture and leap to some kind of conclusion about maintenance is a pretty big leap. Other sources inside San Onofre told Team 10 an unprecedented level of wear and degradation, which caused the plant's shutdown in the first place, makes starting San Onofre again risky.
We are dealing with unknown territory here, which has never been explored before.
San Onofre disputes those claims and says the plant is safe to restart. Records obtained by Team 10 show San Onofre staff were concerned about hundreds of corrosion notifications and degraded equipment throughout the plant. Staff sent a letter to management saying San Onofre clearly has a serious corrosion problem in pipes throughout the plant.
This is nuclear. This should be tip-top. Everything in that plant should be tip-top, not bottom of the barrel.
Now again, San Onofre says the plant is safe to restart. The NRC is expected to announce its decision on restarting Unit 2 at 70% power in the coming weeks. With Team 10, I'm investigator Mitch Blocker.
Well, it's the video San Onofre never wanted the public to see. Senior management dressed as Star Trek characters in a spoof video.
Team 10 investigator Mitch Blocker found it was shot in the plant's training simulator.
There's no mention of space or the final frontier. This is Songs Trek, a spoof brought to you by management at the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station. It features replica uniforms and a Vulcan scientist, ears and all.
If we remain in this state for much longer, we run a risk of equipment failure and crew demoralization.
The video was made in 2010. It includes former Chief Nuclear Officer Ross Ridenour. He plays Captain Kirk and no longer works at the plant. San Onofre spokeswoman would not tell us whether he was fired. Ridenour did not respond to calls or emails. We're told he now works in the Middle East. San Onofre's current vice president and station manager is also in the video. At the time, Doug Bowder played Ridenour's commander.
So many safety hazards, lieutenants. Are you prepared to get us out of our current situation?
San Onofre has been shut down since January 2012 because of a radiation leak. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission did not know about this video until Team 10 showed it to regulators. A spokesman said the NRC will be reviewing the video. Federal regulators are considering a request by Southern California Edison to restart San Onofre at 70% power in June. A source inside the plant who wants to remain anonymous says workers found the spoof inappropriate.
Supposedly it was for training. How that fits in and how that works for training, your guess is as good as mine.
San Onofre's spokeswoman said the video was shot 3 years ago for an employee recognition event. The spokeswoman said the video cost $800 to make and that it was never completed or intended to be public. She said it never compromised safety.
I'm counting on you to make sure our mission is successful.
Sources say this video offers a rare look inside San Onofre.
The plant runs by public trust, and right now the public is blind.
And what they call a questionable culture where senior management spends ratepayer money making spoofs.
Now, this video is not the only look we're getting inside San Onofre. Just 2 weeks ago, Team 10 showed you this picture of a leaking pipe sealed with plastic bags, tape, and broomsticks. We're told it is part of Reactor 3, which of course has been inactive for more than a year now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And this investigation continues into everything with what's happening. I mean, it just one thing after another keeps popping up.
No doubt. And there are lawmakers who are looking at this. California Senator Barbara Boxer has been asking a lot of questions, and she's in a position to ask them. She's actually the chairwoman of the committee that oversees nuclear regulation in the United States. So some state representation asking some questions about this.
Jumping into it. All right, Mitch, thank you. An incident involving Team 10 has a top media organization demanding an apology from the California State Parks and the owners of the San Onofre power plant. Our crew was in a public place, but police and San Onofre security demanded that we delete the video.
But we didn't, and 10 News investigator Mitch Blocker wants to show it to you. Mitch?
Yeah, guys, we were working on a series of stories that were critical of San Onofre and its management. We were getting shots of the facility from a public state beach when police and San Onofre staff demanded that we delete our video and leave. What do you mean we're not allowed to film?
As per my boss.
How can you tell us we're not allowed to film on a public beach?
This is Bob Warman, a state parks employee. We were here to get video of the San Onofre nuclear power plant when he stepped in and told us we were on private property.
Where's the private property at? It doesn't say anything that there's private property.
See that sign right there?
Where?
Concrete post, go read it.
It says private property?
Go read it.
That doesn't look like a no trespassing sign to me. It says no parking, Bob.
According to San Onofre spokeswoman, Bob Warman had been called by plant security. We were in the process of airing and preparing several stories about the plant, which has been idle for more than a year because of a radiation leak. Our reports revealed how nuclear experts and insiders felt restarting the plant was risky. They uncovered this picture showing plastic bags, duct tape, and broomsticks used to seal a leaky industrial pipe inside the plant. We also reported on a Star Trek spoof shot in the plant's training simulator featuring senior plant managers.
Hey, and you need to roll somebody down here.
When we told Warman we had the right to shoot on public property, he called for backup. In the distance and off camera, you can hear State Parks policeman Inyo Roca coming toward us. He immediately identified himself as a State Parks police officer.
What's your name?
Officer Roca.
Officer Roca. Nice to meet you, sir.
He asked for ID and ran a background check on our crew. As the camera rolled, it captured more than the signature twin domes of the nuclear facility. It watched a man go fishing and a woman walk her dog, all in the same spot where we had apparently been trespassing.
They called us down here because they said there's people filming a nuclear generator. It's a high terrorist threat. They take it very seriously.
Roca told us the FBI was being dispatched, though they never showed up.
Being detained. They're going to come down here. You're going to explain your story. They're going to look at your footage.
Eventually, a San Onofre employee dressed in SWAT gear told us to delete our video and leave the area. We left, but did not delete the video.
If the public is allowed there, then the press is allowed there.
Mickey Ostreicher is the National Press Photographers Association's lawyer. In his letter to San Onofre and the state parks, he cites the Privacy Protection Act of 1980, writing, "There are no circumstances under which law enforcement or anyone else may order the deletion of files belonging to another person." He also brought up sites like Google Earth, which provide up-close overhead views of the plant. We searched Google Earth and found this picture, snapped from nearly the same spot where we took our video.
There are far too many people that think that stopping somebody from taking a picture or a recording is going to help national security, when in fact all it is undermining our constitutional rights.
So far, the state park's legal department has responded only in part, insisting our officers did not initiate the contact independently, that they were responding to a request from the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station.
Now, we only shot video from public property or areas we were directed to by state park staff. San Onofre owner Southern California Edison told us that their security officer responded conservatively last month when he indicated to a television crew his preference that they stop filming and delete their video. SCE's senior vice president said, "We take seriously our security responsibility to ensure that we protect public health and safety."
Mitch, anyone on that beach can snap a picture.
Yeah.
So what happened to you? Can that happen to anyone?
We have the same rights as any member of the public. So yeah, presumably it could happen to anybody. And we should mention, we are aware of the security concerns. We were taking wide shots. Our only interest was to show our audience what we were reporting on. If we wanted specific shots, as you saw, we could have simply pulled up Google Earth.
And there's a lot to report on.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mitch.
It shouldn't come as a surprise to those of you who've been following our Team 10 series inside San Onofre. And Team 10 investigator Mitch Blocker is back now with more exclusive inside information, including the confidential internal email employees got from San Onofre's top executive. Mitch?
Bill, before the rest of us even got a whiff of the news about San Onofre's shutdown, the man in charge of the plant, Pete Dietrich, sent staff a heavy-hearted message. The email is clearly marked for internal use only. It says this difficult announcement is something none of us wanted to hear, but our decision is absolutely the right thing to do. Dietrich blames the Atomic Safety and Licensing Board and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for the decision. Now, the internal email was given to us by sources inside the plant who have been concerned about the plant's safety. These sources helped us first report on issues with plant maintenance, including how a large industrial pipe was fixed with duct tape and garbage bags. We also revealed an internal video, a Star Trek spoof shot in San Onofre's training simulator, which featured top plant managers. Now at 5, we're going to again hear from our inside sources and show you more of that leaked internal email. Koshal?
Well, 10 News was okay. For the first time, sources tell Team 10 decision makers in charge of replacing the generators at San Onofre may have put profits ahead of safety. And our sources say in the rush to change the generators, the nuclear plant skipped a vital step that the government should have caught. These claims are coming just as it was announced the plant will not be restarted.
And as a California senator calls for the Department of Justice to investigate, only Team 10's Mitch Blocker has the story.
SCE and Mitsubishi Industries were under a time pressure to build and install these steam generators as soon as possible, because Edison was losing money with the old steam generators.
This safety engineer worked at the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station. He told Team 10 Southern California Edison wanted to increase power output using nuclear reactors that featured new, redesigned steam generators. He says more power meant more profit.
If they wanted to install new additional tubes and make changes to the design.
Our source wishes to remain anonymous because he fears for his personal safety. He says with more tubes and bigger tubes, more steam would be created to create more power. Our inside source says the new tubes featured major changes that should have required close oversight and public hearings before Mitsubishi Heavy Industries began to build the new generators. This is what Senator Barbara Boxer wants the Department of Justice to investigate. She wants to know if the companies intentionally misled the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. This former NRC employee agrees with our inside source and says Edison and Mitsubishi put profit before safety.
You don't need an NRC approval if you want to change the toilet seat somewhere. But if you make a major change, which this was the case, you do need NRC approval.
The nuclear industry is self-policing. Regulations leave it up to SCE to tell the government whether the work to be done is major or minor. Internal SCE documents given to Team 10 by a second source show the company was able to sidestep a more thorough review by simply describing the replacement of the original steam generators as a minor change. SCE gave regulators the same information about the replacement generators. One One document reads, replacement of the steam generators is a replacement in kind in terms of an overall fit, form, and function with no or minimal permanent modifications to the plant's systems, structures, and components. Our sources say this description of the project allowed Mitsubishi and SCE to fast-track it by avoiding public hearings and minimizing oversight. The result, sources say, is that mistakes were made.
They did not have the experience to design these replacement steam generators.
Hoppenfeld agrees, saying Mitsubishi's plan for new replacement generators was faulty.
I went through their analysis. Their analysis is completely invalid. It's full with errors.
In addition to San Onofre, SCE is an ownership partner in the Palo Verde nuclear plant near Phoenix. SCE had access to information on how Palo Verde was built. Its steam generators are running without significant problems. Our sources wonder if SCE missed an opportunity.
And the question is, why didn't they design the San Onofre steam generators to do the same thing?
Instead, the teams from Mitsubishi and SCE created, built, and installed first-of-their-kind generators at San Onofre. The tubes surrounding those new generators developed hundreds of cracks, leading to a small radioactive release and a shuttering of the plant, which will never be restarted.
The ultimate responsibility for running the plant safety is in the hands of Edison.
But Dr. Hoppenfeld says his former employer also shares blame for what happened at San Onofre. He says the NRC had to know what was going on.
The NRC had the last chance. They had the last call. They could have stopped it.
We also asked SCE about our sources' claims that it put profit before safety. We were referred to a statement made last week by the company's CEO when it announced that the plant would close for good. He said, quote, when we went through that analysis, which takes quite some time to do, we determined that much of it was really standard. We also were referred to a previous statement made by the chief nuclear officer who said, quote, SCE would never and did not install steam generators that it believed would impact public safety or impair reliability. With Team 10, I'm investigator Mitch Blocker.